It's a Super Bowl 33 rematch here today as Von Miller and his 2-1 Denver Broncos look to bounce back from their 28-14 loss to the Saints last week. Meanwhile, on the other side, the Falcons come in also at 2-1 and looking to build on a 38-13 Week 3 win over the Raiders. Second play of the game, and Devontae Freeman has a huge hole and picks up a 10-yard gain and first down. Then 3 plays later and facing 3rd and 10, Ryan throwing, navigates the pocket and finds Julio Jones over the middle for 19 yards just across midfield. Later in the drive, once again 3rd and long where Ryan is throwing, moves to his right, fires to Devontae Freeman who jukes inside and has the first down and 17 yards down inside the Denver 20. Then with 3rd and 5 from the 11, Ryan stands in the pocket until Derek Wolfe with pressure right up the middle drops him for the sack. Roland Ford comes on and his 37-yard attempt is good, and the Falcons' opening drive results in an early 3-0 lead. First play for the Broncos, and Teddy Bridgewater fakes the run and is going to have all day to throw as all the linemen are playing patty cake. Bridgewater finally is able to find Cortland Sutton for a 28-yard gain across midfield. 2 plays later, and Phillip Lindsay takes the inside give, gets a block, and has 12 more and another Broncos first down. Then with 2nd and 6 from the 31, Bridgewater fires a slant to Emmanuel Sanders, who has lots of room as he picks up 26 yards and makes it 1st and goal. And on 2nd and goal, it's Phillip Lindsay off the right side. He stumbles and is torn down by his face mask, so instead of 3rd down, it's right back to 1st and goal. And on the next play, it's Royce Freeman cutting back and getting stuffed for no gain by Isaiah Oliver. Then on 2nd and goal, the Broncos try to stuff it in again, but this time it's Ricardo Allen with the stop for no gain. So make it 3rd and goal where it's again Royce Freeman. He's bottled up and Deion Jones tackles him for a loss, and the goal line stand keeps Denver out of the end zone as they settle for a Brett Maher 19-yard field goal that ties this one up at 3. Falcons offense goes back to work, and on their second play, it's Ryan throwing and finding a wide open Calvin Ridley for 20 yards just shy of midfield. 2 plays later, and it's another first down as Ryan finds Austin Hooper over the middle for a 17-yard gain. Then on the first play of the second quarter, 3rd and 15, Ryan throwing, moving to his right, and wants Hooper again, who makes the catch but can't get both feet in bounds. But with the wind at their back, Roland Ford comes out and puts the 54-yarder through the uprights, and the field goal battle continues as Atlanta takes a 6-3 lead. Ensuing drive, Broncos with 3rd and 4 where Bridgewater looks to throw, and again the Denver offensive line gives him all day, but this time it's Adrian Claiborne eventually busting through to drop him for the sack, and a loss of 8 to force a Broncos punt. Denver gets it right back, and again facing 3rd down, it's Bridgewater quick to Cortland Sutton, who avoids a tackler and picks up 15 yards on the first down. 4 plays later, and Denver enters Atlanta territory as Bridgewater fakes, stands in, and finds a crossing Cortland Sutton, this time for a 22-yard gain. Then on 2nd and 11, the give goes to Phillip Lindsay, who gets to the edge and picks up an easy 14-yard gain to move the chains again. But then on the next play, it's Bridgewater with the fake, and Maurice Ramsey flattens him in the backfield for a sack and loss of 8 yards as the rookie picks up his 3rd sack of the year. And with 3rd and 15, Bridgewater again looks to throw, again gets great protection, could easily scramble, but instead decides to take another sack, and this time it's the other rookie, 1st-rounder Lorenzo McManus. And despite heading into the win, the Broncos send out Brett Maher, who absolutely nails the 53-yard field goal, and now we're tied at 6. Falcons looking for points before half, and on their second play, it's Ryan with the play fake and squeezing a pass into Austin Traylor for 14 yards across midfield. Then facing a 3rd and 15, Ryan throws up a prayer for Julio Jones that is somehow answered as he comes down with the 24-yard catch to convert. And on the following play, it's 22 more as Ryan play fakes, rolls to his right, and fires on the run for Austin Hooper, who's down inside the 10 to make it 1st and goal. Where on the very next play, it's Devontae Freeman hopping over his own man and pushing his way into the end zone, and the 6-yard score gives the Falcons a 13-6 lead as we head into the halftime break. First play of the 3rd quarter, and the give goes to Phillip Lindsay, who has lots of room as he cuts up field, picking up 19 yards on a first down. 3 plays later, and the Broncos convert 3rd and 7 as Bridgewater hits Emmanuel Sanders for 10 yards across midfield. Then facing 2nd and 15, it's Bridgewater throwing, and Noah Fant destroys Foye Oluokun, getting wide open for 25 yards down to the Falcons 22. And on the following play, Bridgewater fakes, rolling to his left, and wants Fant again, but it's Maurice Ramsey with the interception, and the rookie continues to make big plays as the red zone turnover keeps Denver off the board, and the score remains 13-6.
Oh, yeah.
Falcons Falcons immediately facing third down, but convert as Ryan finds Calvin Ridley for 9 yards across the Atlanta 30. Then facing 3rd and 4, Ryan throwing again, but steps up and takes off. Von Miller grabs him, trying to punch the ball loose, but Ryan hangs on, and it's a 6-yard first down run. Ryan gets up and says, whoa, that was close, but guess what? First down, bitch. And Von Miller just can't handle the savagery, but karma is also a bitch, and as far as I'm concerned, so is Nick Kwiatkowski, who 2 plays later skies up in front of Jordan Buggs for an insane interception to give possession right back to Denver. Falcons get it back at their own 2, and on their first play, it's Kwiatkowski again as he strips the ball from Devontae Freeman. Bradley Chubb picks it up and is into the end zone for an easy score, and the Broncos finally find the end zone as they tie things up at 13 apiece. Denver gets it back inside their own 10, where defense strikes again as Bridgewater fakes, looks to throw, runs back into the end zone, and is sacked by Duke Riley for the safety. And after giving up 7 on offense, the Falcons defense fires right back with 2 of their own to take a 15-13 lead. Denver gets it back again, and to end the third quarter, Bridgewater hits Cortland Sutton. Deuce Douglas whiffs the tackle, and it leads to a 33-yard gain across midfield. Later in the drive and 3 plays into the fourth, it's Bridgewater throwing again, and he's got Emmanuel Sanders for 26 yards down inside the 10. 2 plays later, Falcons bring the blitz, but it doesn't get home, and Bridgewater has Deshaun Hamilton wide open in the end zone, and the 7-yard score puts the Broncos out in front for the first time today with a 20-15 lead. First play of the ensuing drive, Ryan throwing and tries to force his pass into Calvin Ridley. Ken Crawley picks it off, and he's going to bring it back 35 yards for the score, and in a matter of seconds, Atlanta goes from up by 2 to now down by 12. Broncos get it right back, and Atlanta needing a stop on 3rd and 4. Bridgewater throwing and goes deep for Cortland Sutton, who makes the 37-yard catch in front of Ricardo Allen. 3 plays later, 3rd and 5 from the 8, where Bridgewater is throwing again, stands in with nowhere to go, and eventually just chucks it out of the back of the end zone. Brett Maher comes on and makes his 3rd field goal of the day as the Broncos extend their lead to 15. Falcons still with a shot, and after holding makes it 2nd and 20. Ryan stands in and finds Julio Jones down the middle and right to midfield for 24 yards. But a moment of fun leads to an avalanche of misery as Ryan play fakes and is immediately under pressure as Von Miller drops him for the sack. Then on the following play, Ryan stands in, can't pull the trigger, and eats dirt again as Derek Will takes him down for another sack. And on 3rd and 23, Von Miller blows by Caleb McGarry and runs right by an oblivious Devontae Freeman for the Broncos' 3rd sack in a row. And on 4th and 31, the Falcons have no choice but to punt it away, and they're able to get Denver to 3rd and 10, where Bridgewater is throwing, gets good protection, and drops a dime into Cortland Sutton for a 20-yard gain. 3 plays later, 3rd down again, and it's Bridgewater to Noah Fant down the seam for 22 more as the Broncos continue to shut the door. Then on the next play, instead of running, the Broncos play fake as Bridgewater taunts the Falcons with all the time he has to throw before hitting Troy Fumagalli for another 13-yard first down. And on the next play again, rather than bleed the clock, the Broncos want the blood of my soul as they're once again throwing, and it's Bridgewater to Fumagalli one more time, and this time for a 10-yard touchdown that's the final nail in the Falcons' coffin. And after heading to the 4th quarter leading 15-13, the Falcons are outscored 24-0 in the final frame and fall by a score of 37-15. Matt Ryan gets sacked 10 times and throws a crucial interception as the Falcon offense only musters 242 yards and puts 14 points on the board for Denver. Atlanta falls to 2-2 on the year and will look to bounce back next week as they head to Green Bay to face Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. All right, so we completely flop in the 4th quarter there and end up losing a game that we were pretty much in total control of heading into that 4th quarter. Outside of the fumble recovery for touchdown, which was out of my control, they didn't really do a whole lot, but then they put together the one drive, and I throw a pick 6 on the very next play, and things just kind of snowball from there. I had done a pretty good job with the pass rush up until the 4th quarter as well, and just everything fell apart towards the end there, and just a complete meltdown for the L. But on the positive side, as you may have noticed, Duke Riley did pick up a sack on the safety in the 3rd quarter, which means he did accomplish his breakout scenario goal, and that means his dev trait has now been upgraded from normal to star. And along with that, he's also received 10,000 XP, which is a really nice chunk, and we'll see the results of that when we get to player upgrades. But before we get to that, we have yet another breakout scenario as Maurice Ramsey becomes eligible after the Broncos game. He ended up with 3 tackles, an interception, and a sack, and heading into the next game, I need to either hold the Packers to less than 200 total yards or get Ramsey 2 interceptions, forced fumbles, tackles for loss, or sacks. So it's going to be tough, but remember, he's also a hidden dev player as well, so it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. Moving along to some scouting, I added 4 players to the board this week, starting with Ellis Perryman, a first-round true talent at left outside linebacker out of Texas. And then following him were 3 centers as we look to replace Ryan Khalil, and the 3 players added to the board were Drew Clements, a first-round projection and true talent, and then Tyler Andrews and Nick Baker, who are both second-round projections but third-round true talents. Wrapping up the team activities with player upgrades, we start with Tack McKinley, who is a pending free agent and reaches an 81 overall with 2-point upgrades to both finesse moves and tackle. Then we have Duke Riley, whose 10,000 XP resulted in 2 skill points that were both spent on upgrading his pass coverage archetype, and with the first one, it improved his awareness and zone coverage 1 point and his man coverage 3 points, and then the second skill point saw his awareness, play rec, tackle, and zone coverage all go up by 1 point. And then lastly, we have undrafted rookie free agent Jeremy Novak, who goes from a 58 to a 59 with 7 attributes going up. Novak receives 2-point bumps to his catching, pass block finesse, and run block power, and then received 1-point upgrades to his awareness, short route running, and spectacular catch. That wraps up the team side, so it's on to the league side, where week 4 kicked off with the Colts edging the Vikings 28-25. Jaguars take down the Chiefs 34-24. Browns hammer the Giants while the Bucs sneak by the Saints. Bengals win in overtime over the Dolphins, and the Texans win by 3 over the Titans. Patriots, Jets, Chargers, Seahawks, and Redskins all pick up home victories, and on Sunday night, the Cowboys do the same, winning 34-31 over the Cardinals. Then wrapping up the week, the Bears win 27-21 in overtime over the Lions on Monday night. Looking at the standings, the Jets are off to a 4-0 start and hold a 1-game lead over the Bills in the East. The Bengals are 4-0, while the Ravens are 3-0, as they look like they'll fight it out for the AFC North title. Texans are 3-1 and lead the South by a game over the Colts, and the Broncos are also 3-1 and hold an early 2-game lead over the Chiefs and the Chargers in the West. In the NFC, the Cowboys are 4-0 and out to an early lead in the East. Bears have done the same in the North and lead the Packers by a game and a half. Buccaneers win while the rest of our division loses, putting them a game up on everybody. Then out west, the 49ers are 3-0 and have an early lead over the 2-2 Seahawks and Cardinals. The AFC Offensive Player of Week 4 is Browns quarterback Baker Mayfield. The top pick of the 2018 draft was 31 of 41 for 360 yards and 5 touchdown passes. Mayfield did throw 1 interception, but it didn't matter as the Browns destroyed the visiting Giants 35-7 in Cleveland. On the NFC side, for the 3rd time in 4 weeks, it's once again Mitchell Trubisky taking home the Offensive Player of the Week. The 2017 second overall pick adds another trophy to his case after going 21 of 34 for 329 yards and 4 touchdowns as the Bears picked up a 27-21 Monday night overtime win over the Lions. As for the defense, the Broncos had at least 3 different players who could have won the award this week, but it was ultimately Von Miller and his 6 sacks taking it home. Miller also added 8 tackles as the Broncos outscored the Falcons 24-0 in the 4th quarter of a 37-15 win in Denver. Then wrapping up with the NFC, it's Cowboys linebacker Jalen Smith winning the award. Smith found himself in on 10 tackles and picked off Cardinals quarterback Kyler Murray twice, and also forced a fumble as the Cowboys came away with a 34-31 victory on Sunday night. Moving to the league leaders, the passing leaders features both of the offensive players of the week, as Mitchell Trubisky leads the way with 1,203 yards passing, and then Baker Mayfield leads in both passing touchdowns with 14 and passer rating with his 142.4 mark. For the rushing leaders, it's an Ezekiel Elliott jackpot, as he now leads all 3 of the main categories with 496 yards rushing, 4 touchdowns on the ground, and a 6.5 yards per carry average. The receiving leaders look the same as last week, but with different totals, as Bears receiver Taylor Gabriel still leads in both receptions with 31 and receiving yards with 444, and then Eagles receiver Deshaun Jackson adds another receiving touchdown this week and continues to lead the way with 6. And wrapping up with the defense, Steelers linebacker Devin Bush continues to lead the way in tackles with 45. Von Miller pushes his league-high total in sacks to 10.5 and is now on pace for a ridiculous 42. And then Marshawn Lattimore joined several other players for a tie atop the interception leaders with 3 picks on the year. Looking forward to week 5, it's another strong Thursday night matchup as the 4-0 Jets visit the 3-0 49ers. Bengals take their undefeated record to Philly. Ravens at Colts in a matchup of the former and current Baltimore teams. Steelers Jags in the dud of the week. We head to Green Bay to face Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. Saints head to Chicago. Rams at Giants in another dud, and the Panthers Bucks in a big NFC South game. Dallas at Washington, Cleveland at Houston, and Tennessee at Oakland. Bills head to New England looking to put the Patriots Patriots in a really bad spot early on in the season. And on Sunday night, it's a matchup between a pair of 2-2 teams as the Cardinals host the Seahawks. Then wrapping up week 5, it'll be the 3-1 Broncos hosting the 1-3 Chargers on Monday night. But that's going to do it for week 4 as we suffer a rough loss at the hands of a fourth quarter meltdown. Join me next video as we stay on the road heading to Green Bay and looking to get back above 500 as we take on Arizona.